What's up, iSURFTRIBE? How's it going? So I have a guest post for you today. It is Scott from Big Guy Surfboard Review. I was talking with him, he commented on some of my videos, and I saw what he was doing, and I was like, I really love what you're doing. I totally support it because I can totally relate to it. So what he did is he started a YouTube channel earlier this year, and he's reviewing surfboards and gear for big guys. It's a topic that there's not a whole lot of information and a lot of frustration out there. So, well, I'm gonna let Scott take it over. We divided the video up into 3 parts. So if you're a bigger guy and you can relate to being a big guy and you wanna maximize your equipment and your surfboard and get the most out of it, you definitely gonna wanna watch this. It's 3 parts, so I cut it up into 3 different parts, and there's a lot of information. So go ahead and, you know what, Scott, I'm gonna let you take it away.
Hello iSURFTRIBE, I'm Scott from Big Guy Boards. Today I want to talk about getting a custom shortboard for someone who needs a bit more volume, someone who's carrying a bit more weight. So I've had quite a lot of experience of this, some negative, some positive. I just wanted to kind of share with you my experience. Hopefully you won't come up against some of the pitfalls that I have. So for me, one of the first things you want to do is identify a shaper. So I've had a few custom shapes in the past with varying levels of success. I went to one local guy. I've had several boards off, but I wanted an actual performance shortboard off of him. So I went to him, explained the situation, explained how much I weigh, the kind of volume I was after, and I told him I wanted a really high performance board for, you know, when the waves are pumping, when it's head high plus, I don't really have to generate my own speed. So he has a performance template, but he wouldn't even entertain attempting to get the volume in there. I think if he would have blown up the file he had for that board to the volume that I needed, it would have been just massively long. I think 7 foot plus, I expect. So he didn't even entertain that, and he tried to start steering me towards more of a hybrid shape, which is not what I wanted, and I was already kind of had a hybrid at the time. So that didn't work at all. So around the same time, I went to another local shaper. Again, same kind of situation. I'd been to him before, awesome shaper. I'd had a quad fish off of him years ago, which was one of the best boards I'd ridden. So I went to him. He was unbelievably meticulous. I know he's a really good shaper. He looked at some of the boards I was on. He was measuring kind of the foil all the way through the board. He was measuring the concaves and where the concaves were on the board, and he just took loads of detailed measurements as a starting point. We had a lot of discussion about the kind of waves I'd be riding. We talked about volume, etc. During our discussions, he did say that it was quite rare. He hadn't really had anyone my size asking for a performance shortboard. So it was new to him. He hadn't really done it before. But he was really keen to give it a go. So during the whole shaping process, he shaped a blank and he wasn't pleased with it. I think the reasons he said, this isn't the board, but just to kind of use it as a prop. He was saying that I think he had too much width in the tail, or maybe the tail was too pulled in. He wasn't happy with the tail, and there were a couple of bits as well. I think the length he wanted to slightly tweak. So he shaped a blank, he wasn't happy with it. He did me another one, which I was really impressed with. So we got that finished. I took it away, I tried it out, but straight away it didn't feel right. And it also, I didn't take any measurements, but for me, for a high performance shortboard, it still had too much width in the tail, almost more of a hybrid tail than a performance shortboard tail. And the kind of same situation for the nose. The nose wasn't quite as wide as a proper hybrid, but it wasn't as pulled in, as thin as this nose. And another problem with it that I identified was the rails just felt way too boxy. And for me, and my experience now of riding performance boards, the clever way to get the volume in there is you get the thickness, but the rails are really pared down to help you with that kind of, you know, sharp turning and performance in the waves. So I'm not saying that was a fault with it. He might have deliberately built that in, but that's just something I noticed. So for whatever reason, his board didn't work at all. I kept catching rails, it just didn't feel right, and it didn't work. So I've had quite a lot of discussion with a lot of people a similar size to me about their experience of getting performance style shortboard shaped by shapers. I've got a forum on Facebook, so that's where our discussions kind of come from, Big Guy Boards forum, and there's loads of people that kind of impart their advice. So this video is also about kind of the discussions I've had with them, and a lot of people on there, well, everyone's got different opinions, but there's a group of people who say to get a good custom shortboard for a bigger guy, you need to go to a bigger shaper. So an obvious example of that is Matt Biolis from Lost. He's similar size to me, slightly smaller. I'm about 105 kilos, I think he's about 95 or 100. And you know, he does really, he's got a range of boards, 2 or 3 different boards aimed specifically at people that need more volume. And the argument is, you know, because he's a bigger guy, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's had the experience himself of surfing as a bigger person, so he knows some of the attributes the board need. That's one argument. Another argument is that you can just go to any local shaper. A lot of people have commented and said just go to a local shaper, they'll be able to sort it out. Now from the examples I've just given, in my experience, you can't just go to anyone and get it done. But from my experience, you don't need to go to someone, you know, necessarily that big. I think you just need to go to someone with experience of shaping higher volume shortboards, whether it's for someone who needs more volume for their weight or carrying an injury, whatever the reason. If they've done it in the past and they've got a proven track record of doing it, I don't think it makes any difference of what size your shaper is, as long as they've done it before, basically. So that's my experience of shapers.